at ya, coming at ya. Bounce down, disaster, coming at ya.
Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of Outspoken. I'm your host, Nigel Ashford. This is episode 11, and this is part 2 of our 2-episode series of joining an Divine Nine as an LGBTQ individual. Last week, we had the men, Alpha, Kappa, Omega, Iota, and Sigma. People who were a part of those organizations join us. It was so dope and interesting, and they spoke their truth, they spoke their understanding. They also gave us a lot more than that and made it so entertaining. So I was just so happy that they were there for that. Now we're back again for part 2, and joining us are 2 amazing women who are part of sororities. We have Miss Sierra and we have Miss Raina joining us today. Guys, check them out. Here they come. Raina, Sierra, what's up?
How you doing?
Hey.
Great. We're y'all jamming to the music too. I was so feeling out.
I'm not gonna lie. I
was doing like a whole little like, okay, all right, we're gonna start off this evening. Okay, what's up? All right, starting with you, Sierra. Your full name, where are you from, and what organization or sorority are you a part of? Sierra, can you hear me?
Well, hello, you all. I'm Sierra. I am originally from. Yep. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. I'm Sierra. I am from Denver, Colorado, originally by the way of Washington, D.C. And I moved down here to Nashville. I crossed Alpha Sorority Incorporated in spring of 2014, and I'm here.
Sierra, I didn't know we were in the same city. Sierra, can you hear me?
Yes, we are.
Oh my God, we got to hang out.
Yep.
I was just about to say that.
We better totally make this into a little date. Right after this year, we're gonna go get a coffee and everything. People gonna be thinking we're booed up and all that kind of stuff. But we like totally different things. All right, Raina, tell us who you are, full name, where you're from, what organization / sorority you're a part of.
Well, hello, everyone. Pleasure to be here. My name is Raina Ingram. I'm from Augusta. Went to college, undergrad at Fort Valley State University. That's where I pledged in 2014, Delta Sigma Theta. And now I'm in Atlanta. So anytime y'all come to Atlanta, just let me know. I got y'all.
Raina, you look like you can get hyped too, y'all. And Raina has
just a tad.
And Raina has this gorgeous wife, y'all. Go check them out. I was like,
shout out to her.
I was like, Raina is doing it like this. Okay, I'll be taking all types of pictures too. Oh, okay. So, why did you guys decide to join your sororities? Either you can go first. When I came to when I was doing my research about fraternities and all this kind of stuff, like at first I thought I was just gonna do the whole legacy thing and join because my father was a Kappa, my uncles and all my cousins were Kappas, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna be a Kappa. And then after I started, seeing the alphas and being connected to them and saw what they were about and befriending them, even though even before I knew they were alphas, I knew that was the organization for me. How did you know what organization or what sorority was meant for you, Raina or Sierra, whichever one wants to go first?
I'll go first. I guess for me, so my godfather, he's a Q. And I'll never forget, we had a conversation when I was in elementary school. My brother at the time was going to Savannah State. We walked across the campus and he said, which one of these, kind of stands out to you? I'm a kid. Nobody else in my family was Greek. So this was something new to my immediate family. So we got to talking and he was like, I see something in you, but we'll have that conversation one day. Then I get to Fort Valley, and the closer I got to college, I just knew. And as soon as I got to college and started, seeing the women in certain positions, leadership positions, we have, of course, HBCUs, Royal Court, SGA, just in different things, leading the band, leading, top GPA. And it was just, for me, I'm like, okay, not only is this a good sisterhood coming from, a single parent home. I have an older brother. He's 7 years older than me. Very small family. So not only was it the sisterhood, but it was the leadership. It was the, just goal smashing. And it's almost like you just sit there and like, yeah, that's going to be me one day. So I did what had to be done. I put myself in that position, and that was it. Many are called, but few are chosen. So we got
it. I like how you said somebody was like, I see, so it's always an older person.
Always.
I see that Delta anointing spirit in you, Raina. I'm not going to say it yet, but I see.
So I made his day the day I was like, right. My probate is he dropped everything and was like, I told you. It was cut, like he had a whole fit. So
oh God, they'd be more excited than us. Sierra, what is your story? How did you choose Alpha Kappa Alpha, my first fam? Did you?
Well, my mom. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
My mom, she's an AK, and it was just kind of in me. It's like a legacy thing, and my mom was like, "Don't you pledge anything else besides AKA, or?" And I was like, "Oh, Mom." And so, I looked into it for myself. I love what AKA stood for. I love their initiatives and what they do in the community and how they've made such a huge impact for years now. And so it was one of the things that just made me feel like, this is where I belong. I feel like this is where I should be. And so that was really my main reason of why I decided to join.
All right. Sierra, you better sound like the spokesperson. Like she was like, this is why. All right, guys. So what were your apprehensions? A lot of people talk about apprehensions, but apprehensions are different for different people. While you have some people whose apprehensions are, will my grades drop? Or some people who have apprehensions of, what if I don't make it? What if, they don't like me, or I don't fit the mold? But for people like us, there are extra amount of apprehensions that goes on to it that a lot of people don't know. And for me, and I don't know if it was for you guys, what if they find out I'm gay? What if I'm outed? What if something takes place while I'm going through my intake process of them finding out I'm gay? And those run through your mind when you hear those horror stories. What is it? And that's the thing. And I feel like as a gay man, I feel like I never really thought about LGBTQ women. What were your apprehensions as women, like going through the intake process or thinking about going through the intake process of a sorority? Sierra, I'm going to let you start first.
For me, it was, I know I'm gay, but I don't think they're gonna be okay with that right now. I knew, like, AK isn't there yet with LGBTQ community, or even talking about it, or having a conversation So for me, back then my hair was very much so long. So I was like, I'll just fit in the image and I'll just do, what I'm supposed to do. And when I'm done and I cross, I'm gonna be who I really am. I'm just gonna come out to the world and this is what it is. And I cut my hair and people were like, oh my God, you cut your hair. Like, why did you cut your hair? How are you gonna swing your hair? That whole stereotype. And I was like, I can still do that and be short. And still do everything and still be fine, and I was, so I was like, forget all of
Period.
that.
Like I can put this
like,
little
take me
this,
for
this
me
time.
or not, I'm gonna still do things.
What about you, Raina?
So for me,
So I just was my only thing about it. I was just like, I wish there was more inclusion, wish there was more of a discussion about it. It was more open.
Gotcha. Thank you.
that's true. For me, it was an easy, victim of read a book by its cover. Because I cut my hair my sophomore year. So I already went in with, a low cut. I don't wear feminine clothes. I'm very masculine in presentation. So it's not something that could be ignored. It's kind of what greets you at the door before I open my mouth. So my apprehension, had to deal a lot with my sexuality stood at the storefront. Like, if I don't get this, I know without a doubt that it's because I'm gay. Like, there was no other reason. And I say that because, and I usually don't try to, but this is the perfect conversation for this. As far as like leadership opportunities, I did everything. I was, in SGA, had been in SGA since my sophomore year. By the time it was my senior year, I was SGA vice president. My GPA, I graduated valedictorian in my class. So it was like, you can't tell me that I don't deserve this. If you tell me no, it's only because I'm masculine presenting, and this is not something that has happened. Especially at the HBCU, you already got, certain stigmas in our community as a whole, just being African American. We get onto it with each other. But then to be in an organization that kind of stands in the forefront, you have, people in college like, yeah, I want to be in an organization, but then who are the members? And then they see me, that's something that they haven't seen. I just knew my apprehensions had to deal with, if I don't get it, it's because of my sexuality and nothing else.
So did you guys ever feel the judgment? So let's say fast forward, intake process. Did you feel the judgment? Did you feel the stares? Did you feel the girl? Because I feel like with men, we are either left alone or we're picked on by being too feminine.
Mm-hmm.
With women, I feel that some women will be like, ooh, I'm going to stay away, or I'm scared, or they don't pick on you, they leave you alone, but they'll talk about you.
Mm-hmm.
Am I correct? Am I leading towards the right way, or am I wrong?
You're leading in the right way. The process was interesting because just, again, masculine presenting. So the looks came automatically. And that comes from, as being in the community, that comes from anybody. But it also it was almost like it was a magnifying glass. Like, why do you think you deserve this? And you look the way you do. And it's just kind of like,
not your accolades, but
right, not my accolades, but what I look like.
Yeah.
And it's like, you grow up reading "Don't judge a book by your cover," by its cover, and then it's, oh, I'm going to show you that I'm more than what you see.
Right.
And I'm going to make and it wasn't like, and sometimes a lot of people take that and run with it. And they'll say, well, why
Right.
do you want to be a part of something that doesn't want you? And
Yeah.
it's not what it is. Because Delta is more, and organizations is more than the school you cross at. And I'm not saying I had a bad experience. What I'm saying is it's a big world outside of wherever, you cross.
Right.
And when I crossed it, the eyes literally, it's almost like they immediately turned into, I was the prized possession, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Everybody, like nobody at the school knew. I was very, very discreet when it came to that. Probate, I told him I wanted a wig on. I didn't want nobody to know that that's what I had done until I did it.
Right.
And literally, I got so many messages about how people, would think it's impossible. They're like, we look up to you. We're so happy for you. Know that we're rooting for you because we never had the guts to even try because we would know that, our sexuality would get in the way. So you're definitely leading in the right direction with the eyes, with the comments and, stuff like that.
Now, Sierra, I want to come to you. Did you ever have people, let's say, that that didn't make your sorority because of their sexuality, that they were too masculine? Because when I think about the prosthetic of what an AKA is
Mhm.
the pretty, the feminine, the gentle, the kind, the sweet, the
Mm-hmm.
southern. In my mind, we're from the southeast southern belt, So when you get someone who is a masculine individual, or someone who
Mm-hmm.
is even like a feminine lesbian, let's just say that, did you ever see or hear, or someone came to you, I know I didn't make this organization
Mm-hmm.
because I did not fit the mold of what they wanted me to be?
Mm-hmm. No, I didn't have anybody before me that had that issue. To me, it was kind of like I was the first person that I was like, "Hey, I'm gay and I'm an AKA," and kind of made it a thing. I knew when I pledged that I was like, Sierra, when you cut your hair off and you show these people who you really are, versus this cookie cutter, what they want you to look like, they're gonna be like, "What the hell?" So I was like, "That's fine. That can be uncomfortable. That's what we meet in life. That's how we go." So they gonna have to take me for who I am, and I'm gonna do some great things in this organization, and I'm gonna look just like me. And it's gonna be like, wow, she did that, and she's an AK, and she looks like that, she cut her hair, and she dresses like that, like what? And so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna make that a thing. I'm gonna make that normal instead of it being unnormal and uncomfortable to talk about when that people being who they are.
Right.
Did you guys ever have to go through any type of code switching? I feel like in our world, in our jobs, we're at work, we have to be we have to be somebody totally
Oh,
opposite in spaces and places. So when you're on your intake process, and even now, just approaching some of our older generation deep in it who wants you to be a certain way, did you find yourself, for example, Sierra, hi, how are you? Da, da, da. And then Raina, did you find yourself trying to go a little high pitch, try to do a little switch with it? Did you guys find yourself changing your mannerisms, changing your voices, changing the way you walk, changing yourself to try to fit in with that sorority? Right now, I'm gonna let you go first.
Um, my code switching, well, I'm gonna say yes. My code switching happened um when we had Rush. Um, with Rush, I took it, and it wasn't. I don't want to say it's to fit in, but then again, I wanted to make a point because for me, I'm like, okay, well, if you don't, believe me that this is more than just something on the inside of of a book, I'm gonna show you that this should be no other discussion. And so, as uncomfortable as it was, um, I wore a skirt suit to Rush. And literally, and I kid you not, the funniest thing was seeing their facial expressions when I went into rush. Because it literally seemed like it clicked, like, did she really just do that? Oh my God. To the point where, Nigel, I'm just the point where somebody tried to take a picture and I seen the flash. And I'm like, of all things to do, you take a picture with the flash. Like, yeah, I saw you. I saw you, right? So other than that, my code switching is going to meetings. So when we have, our monthly meetings, when you get into your alumni chapters and things like that, it's a little different. Certain, like when there's another line coming in, you have a special ceremony where, you have to wear certain things according to the guidelines. And I haven't become a troublemaker enough yet. And I'm going to say troublemaker because I know it's going to bring about some. Is she really coming to this meeting like this?
We're wearing the first lady, not the first lady, the first Sunday.
Listen. Like, I just know. The most I do is wear form-fitting pants and like a nice little blouse. But I'm at a point now where I'm like I literally had a conversation with someone the other day and they said, why are you doing that? And I got to thinking and I was like, okay, kind of got a point there, because it's almost like I forgot that me doing this is just to change the narrative. Like, well, not just to change the narrative, but a big part of it is, like Sierra said, to normalize this. Like, this shouldn't be an issue, but it is. So I can't, if I conform, to guidelines that shouldn't be, even in place, then am I really helping change the narrative, or am I just trying to stay out of the way and, not cause problems or worry about other people's feelings? No, I have to make, pretty much myself comfortable and not worry about anybody else.
Right. Sierra, what about you? I know you said that you cut your hair off, girl. Did you have to do a whole code switching?
Yeah, I did. It was I did in the beginning, like I think I was kind of coming to my own style instead of what people wanted me to look like versus what I wanted to look like. And it was really weird for people. I got the looks and the stares and like, heck, and what is she doing? But for me, I was like, I don't care. I think I'm cute. I'm probably cuter than half of y'all, but I'm cute. I was just trying to embrace myself and give myself confidence in it. But I did have to code switch a lot in undergrad just because I was like, okay, today we can't wear, sweatpants and the shirt, and a hoodie when I go out here. I got to put on these heels and this blazer and bait my face to a certain extent and straighten out this hair and make sure it can roosh that way, And then when I get back home, I can be normal. And I was like, how long are we going to do this? So I was like, nah, you know what? I was like 25, 24. I was like, I'm not doing this no more. So how come it looking like this? This is how I look. Do you take it or not? I don't care, but I'm comfortable.
Right.
If you're
right.
Well, that's the issue between you and yourself. You need to work out, but I'm good. What? Let's get work done. It ain't about what I look like. I'm still doing the job. So that's what it was about for me.
Sierra said, y'all gonna get what y'all get.
That's true though. Like, I think a lot of people forget that we're here to do service to others, regardless of what organization we're in. We have these initiatives. We're all trying to, in our own different way, make our community better. Why are we talking about what I look like? It's almost like I'm wearing a suit and a tie, whatever, and I get the same looks in church that I do when I walk into, an official meeting. This ain't what we here for. So it's literally that instilled that we have to break down those conversations like what we're having now, that we have to continue happening. And we shouldn't. They have to happen if we're going to at least try to make any type of, strides in the right direction.
Right. All right, guys. We're here with Sierra and Raina. We are joining a sorority as an LGBTQ individual, and not just any sorority, the Divine Nine sorority. Again, we have Sierra and Raina here, and we're going to talk a lot more about their experiences. I'm going to ask them a couple more questions about what it's like now being in grad chapter after their intake processes and what they're doing now to make strides. But we'll ask them those questions when we be right back after this commercial. Stay tuned.
It's time to step up, prep up.
Step up, prep up.
To help keep you free from the risk of HIV.
From the makers of Truvada, there's another PrEP option, Descovy for PrEP, a once-daily prescription medicine that helps lower the chances of getting HIV through sex. It's not for everyone. Descovy for PrEP has not been studied in people assigned female at birth. Talk to your doctor to find out if it's right for you.
Step up for health and body.
Prep up for your one and only love, or many loves. For kings, this queen, and you royals in between. For my now.
Our now.
And my future.
Our future.
Step up, prep up. Descovy is another way to prep. Descovy does not prevent other sexually transmitted infections, so it's important to use safer sex practices and get tested regularly. You must be HIV negative to take Descovy for PrEP, so you need to get tested for HIV immediately before and at least every 3 months while taking it. If you think you were exposed to HIV or have flu-like symptoms, tell your doctor right away. They may check to confirm you are still HIV negative. Serious side effects can occur, including kidney problems and kidney failure. Rare life-threatening side effects include a buildup of lactic acid and liver problems. The most common side effect was diarrhea. Tell your doctor about all the medicines and supplements you take, or if you have kidney or liver problems, including hepatitis. If you have hepatitis B, do not stop taking Descovy without talking to your doctor. Ask your doctor about your risk of HIV, and if Descovy for PrEP is right for you.
Words are loud, but actions are louder.
Step up.
Prep up.
With Descovy for PrEP.
Get help paying for Descovy for PrEP. Learn more at stepupprepup.com.
Lifestyle disaster coming at ya.
Awesome, guys. Welcome back to Outspoken. My name is Nigel Ashford. And joining us is Sierra. And how are you? Are you good now, Sierra? We're good?
So I was like, this sounds better. I like this.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
I like it too. And we got Raina as well. Welcome back, Raina.
How are you? We're having great conversations. I'm excited.
We are having great conversations. Now, Raina, Sierra, one thing that I wanted to ask you guys, and this is one thing that I asked the men, while going through your process, did people ever use derogatory terms towards your sexuality as a way to try to defeat you? Like, one thing that was said to even my straight line brothers, gay, faggot, all these type of terms. And I'm looking like, okay, I get if you said it to me, like, but you're saying it to these people and they're straight and you're making it sound like a negative thing. And then when it was done to me and to the other brothers who were talking during last week's conversation, some of them took it like, oh, I'm not fazed, but some were, because they knew they were targeting them. Were you ever targeted? And they used derogatory terms to make you feel a type of way or to get a reaction? Sierra, I'm gonna let you go.
No, I never got called like crazy names. My sisters, my line sisters did not allow any of that. After we had a conversation, we had like a powwow because they were like, we just want to get to know you better. Are you gay? And I was like, yeah. We were like, okay, we just want to make sure. And I was like, yeah. And they were like, well, if anybody try to mess with you, they're going to have to come through us and we don't play about you. And I was like, yes, I like all of it.
And it's like 100 of y'all on the line too, Sierra. Like, no lie, y'all like a little mini army each line.
Yes. That's how I was like, I'm good. And so nobody ever approached me crazy. If anything, they embraced me out of anything. And I made it fun. I was like, we're not going to make this weird. Yes, I'm gay and I like girls. You like dudes. Let's talk about it. You know what I mean? And they were just like, oh, she's so cool about it. I'm like, yeah, because it ain't nothing to be like shamed about, because I sure ain't.
All right.
You know, so
And you know they were probably having this whole girl, you ask. No, girl, you ask her, girl. I don't want to ask her, you ask her. You know,
right.
they had that whole-
And then always like, oh, you know, can you tell me if one of my friends is gay? Because you have good gaydar. Sure, let me meet him. What's up?
Not the gaydar.
Or do you think I'm cute? Because if you think I'm cute and the guy thinks I'm cute, then I must be pretty damn fine. And I was like, yeah, girl, you pretty damn fine, you know?
Oh man.
Oh, Jesus. Raina, what about you? Sierra got us laughing over here.
Right. Not that I can remember. I don't remember there ever being a time where it was like that. And I had the same situation as Sierra, the same experience. The only difference is we didn't have to have the conversation. And that's one thing, that's literally one of the best parts about my experiences. My line sisters never like looked at me crazy, never said anything crazy, never made me feel different. Like literally, it wasn't even, the only discussion was, we know you gay, it is what it is. Now let's go eat. Like it was never a, you know, one of those things that I had to explain, I don't look at y'all that way. I'm not interested. Like we didn't have to do all of that. Which to me, like I said, was one of the best parts, is having sisters that never questioned it, never felt weird around me. Just like Sarah, have those conversations. Like, you know, hey girl, what you doing? Like it was, you know, like I'm a girl too. Like we can, you know, so we can have those conversations. It's not gonna be weird. Like, and I feel like right. And I feel like a lot of times people don't get those experiences. But lucky enough for me and Sierra, you know, we did. And that's good to hear coming from, you know, someone in another organization as well.
Yeah.
Did your parents, both of your parents, did your parents know about your sexuality at the time?
Yes.
So were they, and it's always the parent, I feel like, who puts the fear in you because they're so afraid. Were your parents like, oh my God, don't tell them. They might say something, they might do something. Oh my God, my baby, don't make me have to come up there. Did your parents go
right, I'll show out. I'll go to jail. But my mom, honestly, she was scared of me going to college. So we just gonna start there. Like dropping me off at college was very emotional for her. Because I came out to her my 11th grade year. It wasn't a horrible experience coming out to her, but it did take some processing because, you know, she had in her mind a son and a daughter. And it wasn't that I ever, you know, mentioned anything about transition or anything, but she had I get, you know, see my daughter walk down the aisle in a dress and do all this. So she was processing that. And, you know, we always, by that time we were having open conversations, and then she goes to drop me off at college and she's like, well, you're far away. You don't have a car yet. What if something happens to you? People aren't always going to be accepting. And I had to tell her, like, then literally before my first day I got on campus, I told her, Mom, if somebody takes my life because of my sexuality, at least I know I died being true to myself and did something that they couldn't do for themselves. Yeah. So I was like, if this is the last time we're seeing each other, I love you, but understand I'm willing to die being myself and being happy and living my truth, because I can say, you know, I can't say that for everybody. It's not even straight people. I can't even say that for them. So, you know, she had a fear for me going to college. So I'm not even going to say anything about the rest of the years.
Oh, God. Sierra, what about you?
For me, my parents did not know that I was gay until, really came to grips last year.
Wow.
Yeah, when I pledged AK, I didn't tell nobody. I was like, this is for me, myself, and I. just because I was like, I knew my mom wasn't like going to be all the way for it, but I was like, I know we're going to have a conversation, and we did. And she was like, I don't care who you with, you still my daughter, and ain't nothing taking the relationship I have between me and you, no matter who you with. So that's how I feel. And I said, well, amen, mom. Praise the Lord. And my godmothers, they came around, they were like, we don't care, see her. We've been knowing you was gay since you was a kid. I was just
that's the part that get me.
I said, oh,
we was waiting on you.
I'm sitting here tiptoeing around like, they like, we know.
Like Joanne the Scammer.
This is my friend. This is my roommate. We just chilling.
Right.
All right. And then I always go, how's your friend?
Why you didn't bring your friend home for Thanksgiving?
Right.
Oh man.
So fast forward.
Hold on, I'm so sorry.
No, you're fast forward. You guys got your letters. You're representing your sorority and everything. Did you, because this is what it was for me, did you finally see a whole different world of your sorority of LGBTQ individuals after you crossed? Because after I crossed, I was like, oh my God, he's gay. There are gay groups. There are gay Greek groups. Oh my God, there are gay trips with Greeks. And I was like, oh. And so I saw this whole new, and it's almost like a little underground world or where you can be yourself and be Greek. Did you guys find that after you crossed? Sierra.
Yeah, I did. I found that a lot. I think it was right after I crossed, I got into this group meet, and it was like thousands of AKAs that were in the LGBTQ community. I was like, what the? Really? Where y'all been hiding? And I was like, hold up. And I mean, it was like globally, like all over the world. And I was like, oh, this lit. I'm over here tripping like it's just one of me. No, there's thousands of me. So we talked, like, let's hang out. Are you in Atlanta? I'm in Nashville. Let's turn up. Let's go to AG. Like, we was talking. So I found a huge group of people that I didn't even know existed, that were in the LGBTQ community. And it was really great because I have some great relationships with them.
Oh, wow. Are you closer to them than you are closer to your LSs?
No, I'm closer to my line sisters more than them. I haven't really got to see them like I want to, especially during COVID, and I haven't been able to travel and go places, but I'm more closer to my line sisters just because they're here. We hang out, we've been through a lot together. 2 organizations, not just this one. So it's like, we know each other, okay? Inside and all the way out.
Oh, God. What about you, C?
So as far as just a whole new world opening, it definitely was. Mm-hmm. It wasn't through a group me experience. Now, see, back when in 14, group me's were definitely the thing. Once you crossed, you got all these different, notifications and things in different groups. You meeting different people, but it's one of those, for me, the experiences came by just being out, like going to different schools and, just anytime like AGP, you would go, you would just see, and it was almost like both of you knew, like, well, of course, for the more masculine presenting, you'd be like, okay. And then, it's harder to tell for femmes, but they seem to be more like open to letting as your soror, like, hey, like, it's so good to see you, type thing, like being in the same community. Right. The best experience I had with that type of scenario, I went to a probate at Clark, Atlanta, and it was a soror from 74. I believe that was her year. Mm-hmm. And she literally stopped me out of nowhere, just stopped me and was like, hey, let me talk to you real quick. Of course, me, I'm like, what I did? I didn't do anything. I'm just here visiting. And she mentioned how she was happy to see me. She said, because coming from a time, in 74, she was like, it was hard enough. And she was like, to see how things have, progressed and to see me just, willing to just be, be myself
Right.
and be around and not, literally act like I was prohibited from doing things because of my sexuality.
Yeah.
We literally, it was almost like having a shoulder just to be there. We exchanged numbers. We talked every now and then, like just to catch up. How are you doing? How is everything? And literally a couple months ago, she called me. We hadn't talked in years. A couple months ago, she called me to let me know formally that she was transitioning. And we had a whole discussion about what that meant. And the crazy part about it is none of that discussion had anything to do with Delta. Like that bond we built, yes, it started because, we were in the same organization. We looked and presented ourselves the same way. She had a short haircut. She dressed masculine, but the relationship that grew from it, our conversation eventually had nothing to do with Delta. And that was the beauty of it. You form these relationships and you get into these spaces and you realize that you're more united by a lot of other things.
Yeah. So now after you guys, earned your letters and let's say a year passed or 6 months passed, depending, and another line is getting ready to come up and it's time to choose who they would want on the line. During that process of when you're with your sisters looking at these applications, did it ever come up, she's gay, she's a lesbian, we have enough in here already? Did you guys ever have to now speak up and be like, hey, I'm gay and I'm in here, we need more people of LGBTQ in our organizations. We can't keep staying on this route that took place in the early 1900s. If that was the case, half of you AKAs wouldn't be here because y'all are dark skinned. Half of y'all wouldn't be here because of this and this and this. So did you guys ever have to stand up for those who came after you to try to get them in as well?
No, for me, the line that came right after me was the line that I brought out. So no, I didn't have any of those issues. I didn't have to do that for any of them. All 107. Nope, not any of them. Let's count. I was like, wait a minute, let me think. But no, I didn't have to do that. But I enjoyed bringing them out. I enjoyed pledging them and, making sure they were together. And it was the most difficult thing I think I've ever done at that point in my life. Because I was like, you're really about to bring out 107 girls. Woo! And they're all going to look together. And they're going to be perfectly in sync. Like, you're going to really do this thing? Like, this is for real.
Now, do they know all their names?
No, I don't. No, I don't. And I can say that faithfully. No, I do not. Listen, they approach me and they be like,
but they know your heart. They know your heart. That's all that matters.
Right. That's all that matters. You know what I'm saying? Because they approach me and I be like, oh, you my kid? Oh, hey, girl, how you? Like, oh, I forgot. Oops. I listen to a lot of y'all.
Parents do that with 4 kids, so it's okay.
Listen. I was like, geez, I got to keep up with all of you. I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off. I mean, if you watch the video, you see me just storming down with this big cane, just like, y'all good, y'all breathing. Am I at the end of the line yet? You good? You walk back. Let's walk back. Tap, tap. Everybody else good? Okay, sorry. No, it was a lot.
As far as I'm concerned, the only thing I would say regarding that situation is, did me crossing make people feel more willing to put themselves out there? Yes, it did. But for me, the conversations I had came from people feeling comfortable to come to me. Like, hey, we see you do it. We know it's possible. Like, and we would have those discussions. And it's an upside and a downside. It's almost like you turn into the golden child. And sometimes people feel like you're that ticket. Like, okay, I need to talk to this person. She gonna make sure to get it done, regardless of my GPA ain't what it's supposed to be. Regardless that I don't do nothing but sit on campus and smoke all day, she gonna get it done because this is what I want, and she look like me. And that's honestly like the downside of it. Like it's almost like, okay, we gonna talk. I'm gonna help you understand it's more than just presentation.
Right.
You know, so you get put in like you almost like a rock in a hard place because like I don't want to tell you no because I understand how hard it is, but you have to understand that it's more than just sexuality.
Right.
Like there's a lot of other things in play. So
would you say it's almost like having the black talk, but with LGBTQ, like you now have to work twice as hard. Like I feel like the reason I made it is because I knew they couldn't turn me away. I gave them a reason where they couldn't. My GPA was around up here. I was part of these organizations where I have influence over the campus. I knew why they would say no. Give them a reason to not have a reason to not say no. And it's like having that talk with your young African American child. You have to work twice as hard.
Yep.
You have to be twice as better. Is that similar to what you now have to mentor to those upcoming undergrads that want to be Deltas?
It feels like that. And I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. It definitely it felt like that. And you don't want to be that person that feels like you crushed somebody else's dreams because you know what it was like to be in their position. But it was me helping them understand, like, you don't have to have, everything figured out. No organization wants you to be this fake presenting person who seems to want to say all the right things to get it. No. Authenticity is it. Right. Like, at the end of the day, and for me, I never looked at it as what can Delta do for me, but what I can do for Delta. Right. And a lot of people, seem to forget that when you get into this type of organization, that you're working for the betterment of your community. Right. And it's not just a popularity thing. It's not, I don't have sisters. I want, like, it's more to that involved. So you have to have those conversations. You have to talk about, okay, well, it's more than just what you look like. What do you bring to the table? What can you, what are your grades like? What are your, goals? What are your careers like? Why do you want this? Right. Because sometimes people just want it because they seen you do it. And they're like, oh, well, I can do this. Let me do it. And they don't have nothing else in their mind as to the next goal.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys, we're here with Sierra and Raina. We're going to ask them a couple more questions. So stay tuned. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. But again, we're here with these two, and we're talking about joining the Divine Nine as LGBTQ individuals, part 2. Stay tuned.
For people living with HIV, keep being you and ask your doctor about Biktarvy. Biktarvy is a complete one-pill, once-a-day treatment used for HIV in certain adults. It's not a cure, but with one small pill, Biktarvy fights HIV to help you get to and stay undetectable. That's when the amount of virus is so low, it cannot be measured by a lab test. Research shows people who take HIV treatment every day and get to and stay undetectable can no longer transmit HIV through sex.
Serious side effects can occur, including kidney problems and kidney failure. Rare, life-threatening side effects include a buildup of lactic acid and liver problems. Do not take Biktarvy if you take dofetilide or rifampin. Tell your doctor about all the medicines and supplements you take if you are pregnant or breastfeeding, or if you have kidney or liver problems, including hepatitis. If you have hepatitis B, do not stop taking Biktarvy without talking to your doctor. Common side effects were diarrhea, nausea, and headache.
If you're living with HIV, keep loving who you are and ask your doctor if Biktarvy is right for you.
Rockstyle disaster coming at you.
Y'all, welcome back to Outspoken. Joining me is Raina and Sierra. Now, I want to jump right into this. What is your organization now doing to make strides to keep up with the times? Things are changing. People are changing. Right before the show, I asked, what are your personal pronouns? Are your organization taking into consideration personal pronouns, the cisgender, cis female, the transgender community? She's a Delta, and she was telling me, she was like, during our meeting, we were talking about transgendered females and letting them into Delta. And she said during the meeting, we heard this older woman, mm. Like they'll be like, "Sister so and so, are you all right?" She was like, "Yeah, I'm good." Mm.
And you know that mean a lot.
It sure do.
She was like, "This is just too much. It's just too much." So we have a lot of older people who think this is too much. So I'm gonna start with you, Raina, with the Where is Delta Sigma Theta now in letting in transgendered females, and also are they taking into retrospect the pronouns in women who are now going by, instead of she, they're going by they, them?
In my synopsis of the situation, it's more of a long road ahead. There's more of the one-to-one conversations than them happening on a grand scale. Excuse me. And I just feel like, there's different ways we can tackle it. We need to start having those, okay, what are your pronouns? Type of conversations. I'm not saying you have to walk into every room and you have to put, your name tag on and it has to say she, her, or they, them. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it needs to be a space where the them, theys feel comfortable as much as the she, hers. But feel like they don't need to come to a meeting, or they need to be, a member that doesn't, it's like a member at large where they can just be a member, pay their dues, do all of that and not have to attend a meeting because of the looks or the disregard for their pronouns or anything like that. Like there's still a long road ahead before we can even get to that conversation, because that is so far in the, just the climate. You can even just see it if you just even scroll on, simple, group pages. You can see where we at now with the younger generation and the millennials. If we're thinking this now, if our community as a whole, if we're getting this now from our own age groups and people around us, we got that from who we were raised by.
Right.
So it literally is a long road
down.
Right. It's a long road ahead. And I feel like, those conversations do need to start happening.
Right.
Just all around.
Right. What about you, Sierra?
As of right now, I don't know that AK has done anything in the LGBTQ community,
right,
or to make it inclusive to where it is a conversation. I would think I'm the first person to ever have a conversation to put AK and LGBTQ in the same conversation. I think it's a long time. We have a long road ahead to break some things that have been taught that are irrelevant now, that we should grow from instead of continuing, that they need to do. But it's a long road ahead. Just like Raina said, it's going to take some time.
But y'all, isn't it kind of crazy though? And this is what I said to the guys. Same with the church. You have gay men leading the choir, playing the instruments. You even have gay preachers. You have them bringing in the money, bringing in the congregation, bringing in the talent. Same with the sororities and the fraternities. So why isn't it being accepted? Because, being honest, a lot of them are in those leadership roles. A lot of them are paying that money. A lot of them are the ones who are putting these programs that's keeping the organizations afloat going towards the future. And it's a lot of them who are actually crossing the T's and dotting the I's because they're understanding we don't need this, and this to happen. So we see them doing the work. We're seeing them in the positions, but why aren't we making it a comfortable environment to let them know you are welcome?
And I think it's really just, it's uncomfortable. It's foreign. like to them, I feel like it's too brand new. It's a subject that's very broad, but it takes a lot to educate yourself on LGBTQ and actually wanting to educate yourself and wanting to make a change and wanting to open up that dialogue. I feel like people are just afraid to touch it because it's like, oh no, it's too far from 1908. And it's like, no, it's not. It's actually current. Let's talk about it. Let's stop sweeping it under the rug like Black people have been doing for years about a lot of different things. And if, they created these organizations for Black people to have a safe space to come to. I mean, that was one of the main foundations. And now you have people that are in the LGBTQ community that want to join Divine Nine, but feel unsafe with their own people. Right. Why is that a problem? You can take somebody who's white, they join your organization, you praise them to death. But what about your brother and sister who've been standing here for years, doing the work just as much more than them? Yeah. Why aren't you recognizing them? But you want to sweep them under the rug. You don't want to give them the recognition. And so I dealt with that in my organization, and I made it a very much so a goal of mine before I graduated. I was like, I'm going to make a huge imprint on AKA and on this campus. And I did with bringing out 107 girls when nobody wanted to do that because it was like, oh, that's ugly. Why would you bring out 107? Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. And I'm like, these girls want to do this. So I'm going to give them all of my energy and bring them out the way that they need to be brought out, expose them to the world in the most beautiful way. And it's going to be great, regardless of all your negative comments, because you just stuck in that mindset. But you can stay over there. I love you to death. And I was like, and I'm going to do this thing. And not only am I going to do it, I'm going to do it great. And I'm going to make this, and it's going to be huge. And it was a thing. And it was very popular and very trendy on Greek shenanigans and a whole bunch of other stuff. But I was like, it's here. And then a whole bunch of other big lines came out right after the fact. And I was like, oh, there's 204 now. All right. Bring them out. And then it was
mini army.
Man, for real, like the whole small line thing is out the window. Like my mother pledged, she had 4, including her. Wow. She was the ace, and that was it. I was like, 4, Mom, at least you got to learn your 4. I'm like, I got 41. And now I'm about to bring out 107. They barely know the girl at the end. But
oh, man.
I'm like, because how are you about to learn 107 personalities in a short amount of time? You're not. You're going to learn the bare minimum and keep going. And that just is what it is. But, so I was like, no, let's change the narrative. We're going to make this great. And I did. And it's been very popular at TSU ever since. I can go back and still, I feel like a little celebrity sometimes when I walk on campus. Like, oh, you're the one that brought out 100. You're the one. Yes, it's me. Hello, people. Let's not make it a thing. It's really weird, But yeah, so I decided to flip the narrative on the whole negative attribute that they were trying to put on it. Because I was like, it don't need to be negative. Get out y'all's feelings. Take yourself aside.
She said it's not about the
organization.
Now, what if a person is married, if 2 women who are married, or a female is married to a transgender woman or a transgender male, and they let that be known, undergrad or grad, are their chances less likely that they'll be in?
If they're married to
because
I don't think
with our application they do ask, are you single or are you married? Do you have a spouse? And then there's been times where we do have undergrad and grads who have had a spouse, and we've had times where it did not go that way because of who their spouse were.
Well, I've never personally encountered that type of situation or scenario. I can say it will probably be talked about, and it would probably be talked about negatively. So you're going to have your people who are like, I don't care, but then you're going to have a lot of very opinionated people, which it kind of relates back to your last question. It's a culture thing. And I think it's so intertwined in our upbringing as African Americans that is gonna take some work, some discussion, some making people uncomfortable to have those conversations. Just like you said, in the church, it's the same thing. Like, you know, yeah, we're here. We praise the ones that's here, even though, you know, we probably feel some type of way about the ones that we don't know, when it's just like, we're all in the same community.
Right.
So it's definitely a culture thing. It's definitely, you know, how we were raised. It's definitely the beliefs that have been passed on from generation to generation to generation, that we definitely have to break down.
Now, how are you, and this is going to be one of my couple final questions, how are AKAs and Deltas receiving the new LGBT organizations such as the Miakas and the Men of Distinction? They learn your history. They do similar strolls. Even when we go out to the clubs, we see them strolling their butts off, and they go through processes. And I met one who was a Miyaka, and he informed me, you know, AKAs actually came to our process, and we're like, oh, you know, and they were fine, and they were like, oh, they were making sure we knew our information. How has the organizations received those LGBTQ organizations who are imitating them because they can't be them?
I haven't came in encounter with anyone who was. I've heard conversation, like little conversation about it when I was in undergrad for like all of 10 seconds, and then it would just stop. And I was like, wait, what? What happened? Who did what? And I was like, what they doing? I was so confused. I was like, I gotta look at this because I really don't know what's going on. You know, but okay, you know, but I don't really know, because I never really got to encounter that, to really to see and understand what it was. So I really don't know.
Oh, I've seen it.
She was like,
well, teach me, because I don't
know. And the crazy part about it is, I've seen actually a male who's feminine in presentation, that he believes in his mind that he is a K. I've seen it. I kid you not. With B was at the probates wearing his pink and green, and I was like, literally, the everybody's looking at him like,
no, don't do it, friend. Don't
like,
do
please,
it.
right? Like, please don't. The most that I've heard outside of that, and he didn't. He just was very supportive. The most outside of that is the talking, you know, I can hear them say that they want to do something, but like you said, like, I hear it in conversation, but I've never blatantly in my face have seen it. I'm not gonna say here it doesn't happen. And I'm also not gonna act like I don't want to have a conversation with those individuals, because for me, I want to know why. Like, you know, why are you doing that? Because big part of me feels very disrespected. And that's just me being honest, because I'm like, okay, I earned this. But what is it that makes you feel like you did too? Like, do you feel like it's because, you know, are your pronouns different? Are, you know, and you know, we don't live in an acceptable society. Like, you know, are you transitioning? Have you, like, you know, it's just, it's a lot of conversation, and I want to have it, but I haven't been able to. Like, I've never been presented to see those organizations face to face. I know that they exist. I see them a lot on Greek Shenanigans. But we live in a society that posterizes them and literally elevates them to a point where people can talk about them. Like, literally, that's all Greek Shenanigans and all these other pages are posting them for, is to literally bash them. And it's like, okay, well, if you don't like them, you don't like them. Like, why are you're literally creating a platform for hate. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, I want to have those conversations, but I'm not going to act like when I see it through videos that I don't feel disrespected, because I do.
No,
so it's just, you say what?
I feel you on that.
Yeah.
I was having disrespect, like, how? Please let me understand. I'm confused. You know what I'm saying?
I gotta come where y'all at, man. I gotta come to Tennessee. Y'all like
no, you should. You know what, Rena? I saw you on Shanice's vlog, and I said,
oh man.
Yo, Nigel, when I saw Rena on this flight, I said, OMG, I watched her whole wedding. I was like so excited. I was like, oh my God, this is lit. I was like,
yes, that's me.
So I basically knew a little bit of Rena's pre-story to this. I've been
It's a small world. It's a small world.
Oh, Jesus. When I did the fraternities, a lot of them were like, oh my God, so-and-so ever see you. Oh my God. I was like, wait a minute. Y'all know each other? I mean, I met so-and-so at this time. I was like, well, I'll be damn. Okay.
It's a small world.
Like, each of y'all are in different states, different fraternities, but somehow y'all have met. All right. Okay, cool. Keep it moving. All right. I think my last question is, what type of project can be done that you would want to create for undergrad or for high school girls who are LGBTQ to let them know that your organization is supporting them as women and not by their sexual preference?
I would say specifically that. I don't think they see it. I don't think they're being told that. I don't think they're being nurtured to understand that. A lot of, and then even just thinking about it, we still live in a society where, although it's more accepted than it used to be, you still have kids. And I'm a high school teacher, so I understand the dynamics of kids who still can't come out to their parents, know that they'll get kicked out. So if they still, worried about the home life, of course they're thinking, well, in their mind, I want to feel safe. I want to go, and it's like what Sierra said earlier. We created these organizations for our community, but then there are still times and experiences that shun those within the community. So they don't see it. We're not telling them. So I feel like events as such as what we're doing now, have these events, invite them out. Like, yeah, we have events, at our colleges, and, of course, if, they're interested, they show up to the event, they don't say anything, they just stay in the back and become a familiar face until it's time for them to say something. But we need to keep going back. Like, go to the high schools and have events where we're catering to those that are coming up, so they know that they feel accepted. Because even if they end up not joining any organization, they have that memory that keeps them pushing as a high school student who feels like they have nobody else. They want to feel seen. They want to feel understood. They want to feel loved. And even if those conversations make that happen, then, that's the least that you can hope for.
Preach, Rena, preach. Sierra, what about you?
Yes, preach, Rena, preach. Okay, talk about it. For me, I feel like if, organizations, they do seminars, they do hazing seminars. Well, why don't we do a seminar about the LGBTQ community? In Divine, we do seminars on everything, but why not that? You do seminars on racism within just on the campus, being in the South. Why don't we talk about this? Why can't this be a conversation and a panel of women who are in the LGBTQ community in all different aspects of Divine Nine sit on a panel and talk about it? We should be doing that. That is one thing that I thought would be really cool to do. I get some kids from TSU that will be like, oh, I know you're an AKA, and I also know that you're gay because I went to one of your shows for Pride, and da-da-da. I'm like, oh, okay. And they're like, so, what was your experience? And I am too. And I'm like, so I talk to them, get their number. I'm like, if you have any questions, give me a call. I'm here for you. And I feel like we just need more people out in the forefront that people know that there's other people like us out here that are in Divine Nine, because people don't talk about it. It's like on the hush, unless you know somebody else.
Then while you're there, like they see you and you do instantly, it's almost like you become a celebrity because you're that, oh man, we haven't seen this. Like, oh, like, and almost like you'll walk into a room and don't nobody say nothing. They just look at you. And I'm like, okay, hi. Like, I'm normal. Like, how you doing? Right. We can converse. Like, I'm not gonna hurt you, not gonna mess at you. We can talk. Like, but it's literally like you become somebody rare, like as if they've never seen you. And it's so crazy that they even, think to do that. And it's like, just talk. Like we're just like you. We just now have letters. So I mean, like we're normal people. We have a lot of the same common interests.
Right.
So it's definitely those conversations.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Raina and Sierra. Before we go, guys, what do you have coming up? What projects are you working on? Tell me what's in the future in store for you. Raina, you just got through speaking, so go ahead and just let it wrap. Then Sierra will get to you.
Well, I do co-own with my wife, actually, Freedom to Love. Started it actually my senior year at Fort Valley because we didn't have a space. We didn't have like Gay Student Alliance. We didn't have anything like that. So had an event for the campus to talk about our issues, and it just literally sparked from there. So this is actually year 5. So definitely a big thing. But you can follow Freedom to Love. It's Freedom to TWO. Love is on Instagram, Facebook page, then personal page, the THE_Ingram, and pretty much custom t-shirts, blogs every month just to talk about different issues, within the LGBTQ community, just a lot of things. So I definitely, hope you guys check it out.
Awesome. Lord, Raina, I'm thinking it was like oh my God, y'all be finding mates and like future husbands and wives for people. I was like, I'm over here looking at Instagram like Freedom.
You never know who you're gonna find up in them comments now.
I was like, we finna have one of like Sierra said, the wedding was so beautiful. I'm finna have me a Raina wedding, and we'll do a whole toast like Raina and Freedom to Love was what connected. Sierra, what do you got coming up? What's going on with you?
Well, I am an artist here in Nashville. So it's my first name spelled backwards, which is Arik. I'm going to be putting out an EP very soon this summer. Awesome. My first EP. I have 2 singles out, one called Good Vibes, one called Please Don't. Available everywhere. And also, I am a CEO of my own entertainment company here in Nashville. And I put on this huge festival every year. I will be putting it on next year. It's called the Funk Soul Summer Jam Festival. I get about 5 to 6 artists up on the stage that are locally around here in Nashville or just locally around in the country, period. And I give them a platform and I let them do their thing, and I get up there as well. So that's what I'll be doing very soon.
That's awesome.
And you can find me at ARREIC star on Instagram and just ARREIC anywhere else.
All right, and Sierra, if you would drop the link to like where they can purchase your music on the comments, so you guys go support. We have to support and we have to invest in our community and lift each other up. So Sierra, Raina, guys, thank you so much.
No, thank you. Thank you. Had a great time.
Thank you.
Sierra,
I'm going to come out there to Tennessee.
Right.
Yes, come out here.
You got to make a road trip to Georgia.
Just let me know.
And you don't have to let your cat. I got a blow up mattress, so we good. We good. I'll bring my blow up.
Look, the old air mattress with the pump.
Come on.
So we good. We good. We good.
Oh man.
All right, guys. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Thank you. Now, everyone, I want you to stay tuned for next week's episode. We're going to do a Mother's Day special where we are bringing a trans mom, a trans female who's a mother. We're also going to have a mother who is a lesbian and also a mother who is a cis straight female, but she's the mom of a LGBTQ individual. And we're going to just have the different perspectives of each of those different moms telling what it means to be a mom in their own right while living as either a trans, a lesbian, or a straight woman raising an LGBTQ individual. And we're just going to bring them all together and we're just going to discuss how they are living their lives, learning who they are as mothers, as an individual, and also elevating and evolving as themselves and learning more about themselves in their process of life. So make sure you stay tuned for that next week. So we only got 8 more episodes to go for this season, and we're really excited. And also, if you're interested in wanting a commercial done on our show, make sure you hit me up through our direct messaging at Outspoken LGBTQ or emailing us at outspokenlgbtq@gmail.com. So, guys, this was an amazing part 1. Part 2, we had heard from amazing fraternities and sororities. I don't think this has ever been done before, and this took a lot of work, and I just want to say thank you to both the sororities and the fraternities for just using this platform to tell their truth, to tell their stories, and just to feel vulnerable and use this space to help somebody else who's listening out there. So, guys, like we always say at the end, stay outspoken. I ran out of breath. That means it's time for me to quit. It's time for me to stop. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Stay safe. Love you. Bye.